1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you very much for making the time to chat to me today. And you're going to give us an insight into the behind-the-scenes process of our project.
Oh, you're very welcome, Holly. Thank you so much for having faith in me and inviting me. I've really enjoyed it.
I quickly realised you had lots of key memories throughout your life related to dance. Was the school disco one of your earliest?
I think it was quite traumatic as a 5-year-old going to my first school disco. Probably the first time I was consciously aware about being very self-conscious and not knowing how to move to the music. I was suddenly frozen to the spot and I realised I had no idea how to dance. And there were some older children that were volunteers at the dance. So I remember saying to them, how do I dance? What do I do with my feet? And they explained to me, and I was happy with the explanation, but it must have looked extremely wooden. It was just a case of moving my foot left to right in succession. There was no rhythm whatsoever. So yeah, I suppose the school disco must have been my first time I was really consciously aware of how I looked, which wasn't good.
Tell us about Tiffany's nightclub.
Oh wow, Tiffany's, I absolutely loved going to Tiffany's when I was old enough to go, but what was especially great about Tiffany's was they opened it up for under 18-year-olds. And I remember one particular Saturday morning, the music was it was the best tunes ever, it was all the best T-Rex songs playing. And I think in those days nobody really worried what they looked like dancing. We called it freaking out, which was perfect. There was a crowd that formed all around us. I don't know if it was for the best of reasons. We may look like freaks freaking out, but hey ho, we had a really good time.
So you've never been to any dance classes, but we do see that you've got a few tap moves up your sleeve.
Well, I don't know about tap moves up my sleeve. I could do a little bit of a shuffle. I think what it was, I was a really shy child, and at the time my parents weren't very rich and they were quite expensive lessons, and I think my mum thought she was doing the right thing by telling me that she didn't think I'd enjoy them being so shy. I think with hindsight I would have really loved to have gone, and I probably just accepted that. But in the meantime, what I did, there was a couple of girls in my class who were quite fussy, spoilt girls, and they both went to dance class. And I remember a few times I used to give them pocket money in exchange for them teaching me some of the tap and ballet moves that they'd learned, which it sounds quite sad really, but in those days I was quite happy to use my pocket money to learn a few moves. Debbie, Angel and me were friends around the age of 17, 18. I've always really admired Debbie's dancing style, so sometimes I went round to, quite a lot of evenings on the Saturdays, I'd go to her house and I was absolutely fascinated by Debbie's dancing. She was so good and so natural, and I would have done anything to be able to dance like her. So in my mind, I thought, if I watch her feet for hours and hours, I will become an expert dancer like Debbie.
Do you wish there were more places for, as you said, women of a certain age to go out dancing?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I do remember one particular night with your mum. I think she would have been up for going out dancing with me. But we did ask the taxi driver quite optimistically on the way out, any clubs for women of a certain age? I did actually say 40s, but I maybe knocked a few years off. Nowhere. There is nowhere for you to go. Oh, nowhere at all? No, nowhere for women of your age. And I've even been known to reject people on dating sites, you would say, well, if it's not listed as a hobby, if they hate dancing, it's definitely a left swipe from me. There was a guy I was chatting to recently on Tinder. It's going quite well. He seemed a nice bloke, but then he told me in no uncertain terms that now he's 60, it's just wrong to dance as a 60-year-old. He said we'd have to agree to differ on that point, because you just don't dance once you're age 60, so that wasn't going to go anywhere.
50th birthday party recreation seems like you at your freest, I would say. So what is it about the 70s music that really gets you going?
Wow. It's like it's something deep in my core. Something about the music itself from the 70s, it was so powerful. It was such an exciting time. There was fantastic tunes. It was all the bass music as well, very heavy on the drums and things. And it speaks to me. It's more than an emotion. I found it really difficult to explain, but it's so powerful, the need to dance. So I think when it was my 50th birthday, it was a case of do I bother this year or not? Changing circumstances. I've become recently single again after nearly 30 years with my ex, and I thought, you know what better way to mark it than to do something that means such a lot to me. And I threw a big fancy dress 70s party at home, and it was the best thing I could have done, because it was just like a time for a new beginning, and I was at my absolute happiest. I was with people that I loved, and I could be totally free. It just recreated that time where I could totally freak out in the kitchen. What we called freaking out was perfect for me, because without being trained as a dancer, or I never felt that coordinated, but it didn't matter, because freaking out, you could just let yourself just express however you felt to the music. Sometimes it feels like my body's telling me what to do. I don't think I would choose some of the moves that I do, but I'm just so happy, just really feeling the music right through in my very core. So yeah, that was such a happy time.
And so, thinking about the future, what part can you see dance playing in your life?
Oh, well, I always say, well, my bunions allow it. I'll always want to keep dancing. Any opportunity I can. I think I do feel it may be a case of more nature than nurture. Maybe a bit of both, because my mum, like I've mentioned, she's music mad, and my mum's a very shy old lady now, if I can call her an old lady. She's 86. She doesn't like to draw attention to herself, and yet that didn't stop her in recent years at Hull Fair outside the Dodgem cars. I noticed there was a particularly really good beaty tune playing, and I turned to look at my mum, and she's dancing on the spot, which is really out of character, but she can't help herself when the music speaks to her. She has to dance. So yeah, in fact, I've always found it really interesting when I come across people that have got no sense of rhythm whatsoever. I just don't get it. I don't know if I understand if they feel self-conscious or they feel it's maybe not for them, but not to have that urge to dance is something that's quite alien to me. I can't think of many things that make you so happy as to dance. It's just such a natural, instinctive thing to do. So yeah, I think my mum, again, back to my mum, she's mentioned that because she can't help herself from dancing, we've once talked about potential funeral songs for her, like as you do have these conversations, and she's named her favourite songs, but then she's told me, Mrs. Stipple, whatever you do, you can't play them. And we was a bit confused. They're your favourite songs, things like Jump by the Pointer Sisters, and Red Red Wine, UB40. And she says, I know I'll be dancing inside the coffin if you play those at my funeral. Unfortunately, I thought, yeah, she probably would. And if it is hereditary, this love of music, I think I might be doing the same myself.